Yo, what are you doing?
You hadn't heard?
Huh?
There's a 20-person protest downtown. I'm getting the hell out of here.
What?
Come on, let's go.
Where are you going with that?
I got my axe, my bug out bag, and my rifle. I'm going in the woods for the rest of my life. You coming with me?
No, not at all.
I got a better idea. I'm going home. You know, in reality, bugging out with just a rifle, an axe, and your dog is probably not the best idea. So, instead of bugging out and living the rest of your lives in the woods, why don't you just take your chances and stay at home with all the food, clothing, all the items you've accumulated over your whole life, and see how long you can last at home. At least that's what I'm gonna do. So instead of a bug out bag like we used to have in 2013, when everybody and their brother posted their bug out bag breakdown on the internet right after watching the Walking Dead premiere, why don't you build a get home bag? Now, I hate the corny, cheesy acronyms, but that's exactly what this is. This bag is filled with all the essentials that I may need if I'm on a road trip, going to and from work, and a major event happens, and I have to get home, you know, on foot, in my truck, but a long distance. I'm gonna run out of gas and I'll have to go on foot some of the way. That's what I have in mind when I put together this bag. It has everything I need to go from point A to point B, being my house, where I will then try to stick it out at home. So this is a video on my get home bag. So here we have my personal get home bag. Now, take all of this with a grain of salt. This is what I put in here to suit my needs that I think I may have to encounter. So don't go build something exactly like this. Just take this as like a starting point and go from there. So the bag itself is a Vertex Gamut 2.0, and it's just like a discreet, non-tactical looking bag. So if I was, you know, walking around in a town with this, it just screams, you know, gun, military, you know, stuff like that. That's why I went with this, just, you know, green and brown, not too tactical, not too in your face. So I'm gonna go through every pocket on here, lay out every item, and I'm also gonna tell you why I have these items. So I've seen a lot of videos where people like show you what's in their bag and they don't tell you why they have it. So that's something I wanna make sure I do, just so you see what I'm using it for, and it may be a different use than you would think. So starting in the top pocket right here, first thing, we have some mechanics gloves. Now I have these obviously because sometimes you may not want your fingerprint somewhere, and also you may be dealing with something that's sharp, hot, and you want to protect your hands. Second, we have a balaclava. Cold weather, keep your head warm. Also keep your face covered up. I have some Surefire CR123 batteries, power your optics or flashlights. I have a beanie, obviously to keep your head warm in a cold environment. And lastly, we have hearing protection. It's always a good idea to have a few pair of earplugs just to keep your hearing, you know, for the rest of your life. And, you know, if you have to shoot a few rounds, your hearing's just gonna be gone the rest of the day if you don't have any hearing protection. So it's always important to have hearing protection. So that's the top pocket. Coming down to this front flap, it just tears open like this. And first, we have gauze. So obviously gauze, treat a wound that's bleeding or anything like that. Next, we have two cat tourniquets on the front right here. Just peel them off like that, easily accessible. And obviously tourniquet, stop bleeding extremity, something like that. Next, I have these cable ties. These are like really thick, heavy duty cable ties, and these are set up as like a makeshift pair of cuffs, so to speak. So you could obviously use these for other things, but I just have them, you know, if you gotta tie up somebody to a pole or something, I'm gonna do it with this. And I have two sets of those, one on each side. And then here I have this climbing rated carabiner. It's not locking, so keep that in mind, but it's just a big, like climbing rated carabiner. So that is the flap pocket. But another cool thing about these Vertex bags is they have this hidden compartment right here where you could stick something up in there, like if you're traveling and you're not going to be going through a metal detector, but they're gonna look through your bags. You may wanna put like a pistol or something up in there. But you know, somebody that's intuitive, they may see it and they may search it, so it's not, you know, completely hidden. So that is the front flap. So now let's get into the main compartment. So starting right here, I have just a Sharpie, for obvious reasons, marking anything permanent, a pen, notation, stuff like that. Then I have this knife. It's technically like a hunting, like a skinning knife, but it has these detachable razor blades that you just insert so you don't have to worry about sharpening them. You just take this out and then place a new one in, so you always have a sharp knife at your disposal. So in this front zipper, in this top zippered pocket, we have the replacement blades, and we have fire making material in the form of waterproof matches and a ferro rod. So a couple ways to make fire if need be. Chem light, obviously to mark stuff or illuminate yourself. A small handheld flare. So I have this, obviously, again, marking, illuminating, signaling, or if you have a very wet condition and you need to make a fire, you could get the driest stuff that you can find and then just strike this flare and just stick it up under there, and it'll eventually catch everything on fire and start a fire. And a whistle. So, you know, if I'm traveling to and fro and I see a pee-wee football game, I can just go over there and call a few plays. No, it's for signaling. That's what that's for. Second pocket, protein bar. Obviously, I have that for keeping yourself alive, some food in your stomach. Another one. I have a moist towelette, just sanitization. If I have nasty hands and I want to eat something, wipe them off. Tissues, you know, runny nose, start a fire, all kind of stuff you can do with those. Ride in the Rain notebook, just always good to have some note-taking abilities. If you see anything, want to mark a landmark or anything like that, that's why I have this. Another moist towelette. So here on the top, I have a Spiritus Systems wonton, and in it I have medical gear. So I have boo-boo kit, first aid, antibiotic ointment, stuff like that. I have a pressure bandage, extreme bleeding, that's why I have that. A trauma pack, again, bad injury, that's what that's for, stop some bleeding. And then some more 4-inch emergency trauma dressings. So again, it just follows that line of a lot of bleeding, major injury. So, and I also have, like I mentioned, the boo-boo kit, because you're more likely to just cut your finger, cut your hand, and just need to put a Band-Aid on. So probably this will be the most used item. You know, hopefully don't need to use any of this emergency stuff. So next up, I have this Platypus. I believe this is a 2-liter water bladder. Now I don't keep this full because I don't want the water to go moldy in here, so I keep it empty. But if I'm going to be traveling, I'll fill this up before I leave so that I can have an extra 2 liters of water. And next up we have this. Now this is what they call a jiggler siphon. So with this end, if you have like a container and you want to transfer liquids, or if you have a gas tank opening on somebody's gas tank that's big enough, you can just insert this into their gas tank and you just shake this and the liquid will start flowing up the tube and creating a siphon. So I have this piece of toilet paper in there just because, as you can hear, this thing's very noisy. So if this were just loose in my pack, it'd be very loud. So I have this piece of cotton in there to keep it from rattling. But yeah, this is a very, very cool piece of kit. You know, if you come up to a stream and you want to transfer some water, this is the way to do it. Or like I said, if you want to take somebody's gas out of their gas tank, this is an easy way to do it also. Rain poncho, just have it, keep yourself dry. Emergency blankets, I have 2 of them. Obviously, if you're in terrible conditions and you need to get warm, that's the easiest way to do it. So up here on the top, I have 6 rounds of double-aught buck. You know, 12 gauge shotguns are very common, so you may stumble across one. Or I may also have one with me, depending on where I'm traveling, what I'm doing. So having 6 rounds of buckshot is something to have. But the more I think about it, it's just kind of unnecessary weight. So I may leave that out of my pack from now on. 30 round PMag, obviously extra ammo for a rifle. 40 round PMag, extra ammo for a rifle. And we have just loose 5.56, top off your ammo. But if I go through 70 rounds, you know, I've debated on this for weight sakes. If I go through 30 rounds in a rifle, 70 rounds extra, that's 100 rounds, and I'm still able to continue on my way, the odds of me surviving 100 rounds of a gunfight is probably not that high. So I may just leave the extra 20 rounds out to save some of that weight. So at the end of the day, this is a pack that I'm gonna be hopefully getting home with, traveling long distances potentially. So weight is a pretty big issue. So I have here another 20 round box, so 40 extra rounds, may leave those out. Next up, we have this SOS emergency food. So this is pretty neat. It's 3,600 calories in this condensed block. So you could just eat, you know, 1,200 calories a day. You have at least 3 days of food right here in this double fist size block, you know. Pretty condensed, so I like that. Toilet paper, obvious reasons. When Mother Nature calls, you want to remain hygienic and clean. Water poncho, just if it's really pouring, you can cover your whole torso and maybe even some of your legs, so I got that. Life straw, so if I run out of water and I need to just get some more, I can come up to a water source and drink directly from it, so that's pretty handy. I have a shemagh, just, you know, I could sling an arm, I could put a little bit of head covering, just a lot of stuff you can do with this thing. I think it's 50 feet of paracord. You never know when you're going to need paracord, so it's always something to good have on hand. Here I have extra 9mm ammo, my carry pistol, Glock 19, so if I need to top it off, I have ammo to do it with. And here again, another 20 rounds of 5.56. Again, may leave that out. So next up, I have these paper maps. So this is the whole South United States where I live. Southeastern, I should say. And then Alabama map. It's probably likely that your phone will either die at some point or some of the cell towers will be out. So having a detailed map of your state is a very good thing to have on hand so you can navigate. You know, if I'm 100 miles from home, I don't know exactly how to get from here to there. So this is a very detailed map for a paper map. So it shows, you know, interstates and some smaller highways and all too, counties and all kind of information down here. So this is a really good thing to have.